Hi. I'm going to take you through a wee spring focused practice. Spring acid, well, you can kind of do this anytime. I've been inspired by spring because spring's that kind of wakey uppy time in the seasons. So it's actually quite a nice one to do morning anytime throughout the year if you need a little bit of kind of just gradually wake me up. It's going to kind of open the front of the body. We've got quite a few flowy things, which also are quite wakey uppy. But yeah, you can give it a wee go. Aim is for it to give you just some gentle energy if you need it. Okay. I'm going to show you some options in the chair actually for some of it as well, which you might want to do if you kind of been sitting all day and it just feels a bit like, oh, I need to just move myself. I'm going to do some of it standing up as well. So I'll kind of chuck some options in as we go. But for now, wherever you are, give your wrists a wee shake out. So whether you're sitting, standing, kneeling, it doesn't matter. Shake the wrists out. So shaking in itself can be really kind of energy giving. If you think about it, it's like we're literally shaking the state off. So you might want to flap the wrists a bit like this one, a little bit kind of flap the arms, a bit bird-like, and then rotate them. So I'm going to bring my hands up in a minute. You can see it, it's a bit like food blender. Rotate in. So I'm going to just kind of do it here and let things move about a wee bit. Okay. And then give the legs a little shake. So that in itself, just if you do that in the morning, just a couple of shakes and it can be really nice, okay, or at any time of the day. And then come and just settle a little bit onto your feet or in the seat if you're in the seat. Find kind of rough balance on your feet without overanalyzing it. Okay. And then we'll take the arms up and we'll have a bit of a kind of, I've got my hands together up the top. They don't need to be a bit of a wiggle and squiggle to kind of create a bit of length in the waist. Feel your feet on the floor though, so we're not kind of rocking off the feet, we're keeping them quite steady and finding a bit of lift, and then let the shoulders drop away from the ears. And then bring that down and roll the shoulders. So things where we kind of reach up through the sides of the body, the front of the body can be quite energizing, and things with a bit more flow and movement can also give us that kind of bit more energy, okay? So from here, you're going to lift all the toes. So you can feel the weight into the heels. So there's a sense that the toes are lifting upwards, and then press them back down again, and then lift the heels. And press them back down again, lift the toes, back down, and then wait till they're down before you lift the heels. And then we can do that one more time. Brilliant. And then settle into your feet. Okay, I'm going to turn side on so you can see. So from there, we're going to crease in at the top of the thighs, we're going to bend at the hips, and we're going to send the hips back, okay? Feel the weight in your heels. And for me, I can imagine my tailbone's really extended out to the floor. So I've got a wee tripod to kind of sit into there, yeah? So you get that wee support at the back and in the feet. And it might feel nice to lift the arms up and lengthen them from the waist. Okay, but the shoulders kind of, so we're not reaching them up like this, we're letting the shoulders stay quite steady. So this can be really nice to do in a seat. I quite often do this when I've been sitting all day. It's like, I just kind of reach the spine out. Or you can do it standing. So it creates a bit of heat into the legs when you do it standing. And then in your next in-breath, you're going to stand up. We're going to take the arms behind, and then we're going to place them into kind of the tops of the pelvis. Lift the breastbone, and you can do this sitting, hands into the small of the back, lift the breastbone, and imagine your breastbone's lifting up. So if you know me, you know I love a metaphor and an analogy. So if your breastbone's kind of feeling the sun on it, lifting up towards the sun. So it's less about the chin and the face and more about the breastbone. Okay, and then let that soften, and just take a moment again to feel the feet. And we're going to take arms up, okay. Feel a bit of height through your body. And then from there, we're going to let ourselves fold forward. So let yourself fold forward, you can bend the knees lots, maybe give it a wee shake. And then start to roll up. As you roll up, can you get that sense of the breastbone lifting? The arms maybe go back, create a bit of space to come up again. And then we're going to fold it forward. Let yourself come up first, pressing through the legs as if you're kind of lifting up all the way through the body. Arms make a bit of space. Again, you can do it sitting. It's really nice to fold over. Feel yourself coming up. Chest opens, arms come up. And then you can do that again. I kind of sense that you're like lifting up through the body, lifting up through the stem if you like, to then feel the top of you really kind of open up. So quite often we start to lift from the top and we don't necessarily get that connection through the rest of the body. And next time you're up, stay up. We'll keep the arms reaching up and then bring it down and give it a little shake. Okay. Standing, if you want to stand, you're going to bring the legs wide and toes pointing out, kind of 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You can do this seated in a chair without the leg movement. We're going to take a little squat down and we're going to press back up again. Okay. So option to come and get a bit of movement through the legs again. So we've got that kind of getting a bit of heat into the legs. And the arm movement, which you might decide just to do on your own. Arms are up. As you bend the arms, stay up. As you come up, you look to one side with a little bit of rotation. Bend arms up. Look to one side with a little bit of rotation. So you get that kind of just gentle twist going on. So you might coordinate with the breath a little bit. And what I quite like about this is that when I stand up, I do get that sense of, just a lady is given a 5'2", of like, and I am my full height. In full bloom, all 5'2" of me. But we've got that still that sense of lifting up with the arms at the top. One more time. Okay, and then keep the legs up. Give the shoulders a little roll and maybe we'll give it a wee shake out again. Okay, so come from there down onto your knees. And there's loads of options here. I'm going to take 1 foot forward. Okay, if for whatever reason you don't want to do this kneeling, you can again do it sitting with your legs out bent in front of you. Or you could do this standing as well. You could stand and do a little twist. But we're going to take the opposite elbow to the outside, turn our chest that way, and then I quite like placing the hands on top of each other to give a bit of kind of push, give a bit of energy and lift and space into the collarbone. So coming into a twist here, as steady as you can on that front foot. So really push the heel. You might almost push the foot into the floor as if you were going to do this, but you're not quite letting that movement happen. And then you actually start to let that sense of lift come through the rest of your body. Okay. So you might stay here for another couple of breaths. Seated, you can do this. Get that same press and lift going on there. And then wherever you are, come on out of that. Come to your knees or sit up, give it all a wee shake out. And then let's do the same on the other side. So the other knee comes forward, or you come, if you're seated, to the opposite side, bring the opposite knee to the outside, turning my back to you. And then again, hands together. And maybe you can see, if you're looking at the screen, that sense of as I push the hands, I get a little bit of energy from the push, which lifts me and it actually twists me a little bit more. Same going on with my foot. I've got a bit of a push there as opposed to a collapse. This would be when we're so dropping into the ground, which might be a time and place for, but actually if we go there's the ground, push away and lift up, we literally get a bit of lift through the body. Coming into that twist, maybe one more breath, and then unwinding from that, come into your knees or sitting up, and again, give it all a wee shake. Okay. And then come down to all fours. Spread the hands out. Okay, and I'm just going to tuck my top in here. Bad choice of clothing to help you see what I'm doing here. But So we could do cat-cow, which might be quite nice, but we could also put a little bit of flow into it. So suggestion is that you might want to take your hands a little bit further forward, which creates a little bit more space anyway. And then we could maybe play with lifting the chest up and then curling and sending the hips back. So kind of lift the chest as you draw yourself forward and then curl to go back. So the real kind of lift the chest, arch the spine, and then curve it the other way. You can get a little bit of kind of flow maybe going there, which fits into that kind of spring being the time of movement, a bit more flow. And you might go one more. You can go whatever pace feels right for you. And maybe it feels nice to take a little child's pose back, or you sit up on your knees and you just kind of let yourself settle into a bit of stillness. You can also do this seated, which I will show you if you decide you want to do that another time while watching this video. So then we might go the opposite way. So we might be curled back, come forward in cat, to then let the chest lift and sit back in cow. So curling forward and then lifting up in cow. And you might find that so you could continue that. And if you were sitting, it would be as simple as doing a chest lift and then kind of curl. So you might kind of move, bend the elbows a little bit as you come forward. And then you could do it the opposite way. You curl forward and cow back. She says not able to do that. You could just move and find a way that feels nice, which to be honest is half the battle with it. So yeah, you might find that one way is a little bit more energizing than the other one. Okay. And then come up to your knees, give it all a wee roll out. And then staying on your knees if you're happy to be there, or having a sit or standing back up again. We'll take the arms out to the side. And if you can lift your elbows up roughly in line with shoulders, have a go. It doesn't matter if they're down here. But we can bring the arms back and then we can bring them forward and curl. So you kind of get the feeling there's quite a lot of sort of cat-cow movement going on. So if I show you from the side, the real kind of open of the chest, curl it back in, open the chest, curl it back in. Okay. Now, you might do this. It might be lower down for you, that it's more like this, and that's absolutely fine. You might want to add a bit of movement in with that. So we could come into kind of the flex position and then open out through the front of the body and then flex back in. You don't need to sit all the way back on your heels if you don't want to. That'll be my knee. And we can do a few of those just to get that sense of the body curling and opening, flexing and extending. One more time. Okay, and then bring the hands behind you, clasp them, lift the chest. And finally, come into stand. Suggestion standing. You can use a wall if you don't feel you want to do this standing. It's not one you can do seated, to be honest. You're going to stand on one leg and you're going to bring the other heel in towards your ankle with the toes on the floor. Okay, now we're going to do tree pose. Start with this. Okay, even if you know you can bring the leg further up to the other leg, start with this. I often come back to the very, very foundation of a movement, a shape, or a pose, just to see what does it feel like when I do that. Okay, and then bring your hands to heart center. Now you might want to press your hands in towards each other and create a sense of opening across here, if that makes sense for you. If it doesn't, just let it wash over you. Sometimes when we do that, we can feel a slightly different connection at the shoulders and arms. Okay, notice how steady or not it feels here. If it feels quite steady, you might well want to bring that foot up to the inside of the calf. Notice how it feels. And also what happened at the top, did it start to clench, tense, or can you be quite open and lifted at the top and through your waist in that position? If the top half really starts to clench in, bring it back down again and focus on opening. Now, I don't think it's going to happen for me. You might find it's all right here, and you want to bring the foot up to the inside of your thigh. Ooh, I think it might just stay there, but not for long. Okay. And it's totally fine if your foot comes back down to the floor. Oops. And if you find yourself kind of toe tapping to get the balance, it's totally fine. Now, you might feel steady here and think, or whatever your foot is, actually, what is it going to be like to open the arms up? Reach through the arms. If you do so, have your palms up, really open them, literally as if you're trying to catch some sun on the palm of your hands. Steady the breath. Okay, so come back to the foundation of where you're standing, how you're standing, and lift and open from there. And then we might bring the hands down. The foot comes down. We're back on two legs. See what it feels like there. And then we can do the other side. So start with that foundation part. Foot down, heel in the inside, toes down. So there's a real connection from one leg into the other. I'm literally pressing that heel into the inside of the other leg. Hands together. Press the hands. Maybe feel the collarbones widen. You might feel a slightly different connection in shoulders. It's okay if you don't. And then if it feels like actually it's quite steady, you could bring the foot up to the calf. Notice what happens there. Steady the breath. So, and if the toes doing this all over the place, that's fine. Try to relax the top half. So often when we lose the grounding below, the top half wants to try and hold us up, okay? So by settling the top of our body, the shoulders, often that's where we can root into the bottom. You might find that that foot can go higher up your thigh. Just keep away from the inside of the kneecap. It's not going to happen to me. And if this still feels steady, how would it feel, again, to open out, to spread the palms, to reach through the arms, get a sense of extending out from the standing position. And imagine all your cells are expanding and catching a bit of sunlight, a bit of warmth. And then bring the hands in and bring the foot down and give it all a wee shake. And then give yourself a wee moment, just maybe close your eyes, notice how it feels. You might stand if your eyes are closed. They can be open, it's totally fine, whatever feels right for you today. Maybe again, that little image, sense of the sun catching you. Catching it in the front of the body. And then opening your eyes when you're ready. And let's give it all a wee shake again. So start with the wrists, get the arms shaking. It all feels a bit looser for me. Get the legs shaking, stand and give the legs a wee Elvis shake. Give the bum a wee wiggle. And I hope you enjoyed some of that, all of it, whatever. You can take parts of it, you can do it sitting. If one thing felt really good, then have it in your toolbox, and I will see you when I see you.